Welcome to Getting to Know You. Today, it's getting to know the marvelous 2024 calendar put out by Stonebridge people. It took 30 people to make this lovely, lovely calendar possible. And maybe if you have looked at your calendar, you're thinking, isn't this January? What are we doing looking at a new calendar for the 2024 year? Well, folks, a calendar is for the whole year. So we, when we're doing this, are in effect saying goodbye to January and saying welcome to February, if you have one. And every month you can see a wonderful photograph. And this year, for the first time, you can also read some wonderful poetry. And so we've invited two of the people who submitted some poetry to the calendar, an added feature. And so I'd like you to hear from each of them about what they wrote, to read it to you so that you will remember, and to tell us a little bit something about its creation. So sitting on my one side is Hope Pepe, and on my other side is Susan Finley. And we are going to be hearing from both of them. I'm going to start with you, Hope. Would you read your poem?
I'd be happy to.
And we should say, if you're looking at the calendar, it's October.
October 24.
Here we go.
Thrice round the pond and fountain delight, wind so strong it impairs my sight. I raise my hood, lower my head, kick a few pine cones, while rounding the corner at the barren homestead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think everyone can relate to that. If you take a walk, you can.
Yes.
So when did you start thinking about this poem?
Well, it didn't take me very long because one of my goals is to walk around the pond 4 times. If I walk 4 times around the pond, it's a mile. So I'm looking to, that's my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I do it 3 times. Mm-hmm. And I'm comfortable at 3, and I've done it a couple times at 4, but my goal is to walk around the pond.
So this is a common experience.
Yes, yes.
But you put it into poetry, knowing
Yes.
this calendar was looking for poems? Is that the way it worked?
No. Well, actually, yes, I guess. But also while walking that corner where you turn at the top around the pond, it's so windy that whole block.
Right, as you go into the West Meadow.
Right.
Yes. It's
So
very familiar.
it's something I say, oh, the wind, it never stops blowing here at Stonebridge. But that was the
And so you
inspiration.
submitted that, and it goes along with this wonderful photograph of a stand of trees that we just marvel. We have trees everywhere, right?
Yes.
And we can sing their praises.
Yes.
So yours is a very contemporary poem.
Yes, I guess so.
And we
I don't
can
consider myself a poet, but I do over the years. I, created rhymes, and especially here at Stonebridge, because I have such a beautiful view from.
That's what you told me.
Yes.
You love your meadow.
I love the meadows. Yes.
Okay. Well, now I want to call on Susan, because I understand your poem goes way back.
Way back.
And you are on the November, I think is this it?
Yeah.
November, no, that's
Yeah.
September.
It's got
We're
a
gonna-
fiery
all right,
trees.
Okay. You'll be able to see all of the pages that are in the calendar at the end of the Getting to Know You, but I think we should sort of relate this to the fiery,
Definitely.
okay, bright red trees that we see here. So tell us your story about your poem.
Well, my story, actually, it started 60 years ago, but recently, last summer when Doreen called me, and because I've had some things in the bridge,
Right.
she asked me if I wrote poetry, and I said, no, I don't write poetry. And I hung up the phone, and I thought, okay, I did write one poem when I was a senior in high school, and I really liked it. It was about a tree. I really feel I had a relationship with that tree. I was away at school, and I was rooming with 2 other girls in a suite, and I had a single room with a bed and a dresser and a big window, and there was this tree that was practically in my room. I think I had a relationship with the tree. But in the fall, it turned the most fiery red. It was intrusive.
Like the
It
picture
almost
here.
kind of threatened me.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get away from it.
Right.
I to this day, I still think about this tree. So anyway, I remembered that tree, that poem, but I didn't think anything more of it. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, my son was at my house in the continuing job of cleaning out and getting rid of things, and we were going through a lot of Luke's papers, throwing things out, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, I came across the original poem on the paper that I had typed it on that onion skin paper
Yeah.
that you can erase on,
Yeah.
with my name on the bottom and my school on the bottom. I just couldn't believe it. So I called Doreen and I said, I have a poem about a tree. So that's the story of my tree. I still think about that tree. If I went back to that school, I think the first thing I would do would be to look and see if that tree was still there, if it was doing all right.
Right. So will you read the first stanza that's
Okay.
that
I
is
hope
in the,
Okay, my glass. Actually, I don't know if this is
up
okay.
there, okay?
Fiery twisting, its great hands beckon, answering all who come alive in autumn, symbolizing the exuberance of nature, for it is fall.
You can just feel that you are in a powerful
I
position with
was.
this tree.
I still feel it. I really do. I hope it's doing all right. I love that.
And it goes perfectly with the picture that was
Right.
chosen for November.
It was a beautiful maple tree.
Right. And the idea of fire,
Yeah.
I think
It
we all
was.
sort of feel that in the fall when everything is just so ablaze.
Well, it was.
Yeah.
This one was a real showstopper.
Right, right.
And it's too bad it was sort of hidden away and I was the only person that could see it.
Yeah. So here we have two people from Stonebridge being creative and contributing to a group project, although we never knew it was a group project. 30 people helped to get
That's
this
great.
put together.
That's wonderful.
But I love the fact that one poem comes from the past and another poem comes from right now and maybe even the future as people think about that, walking the property here. So, well, I want to thank both of you for being part of the project and responding. And we should say that you've mentioned Doreen's name, Doreen Malouf, since the beginning. This is the third calendar that she has managed,
Yes.
made sure that it came into being, that there was an open process for submitting your work and coming up with something that for the third year is very beautiful
Yes.
and lasting. And I think the voices as well as the eye of the participants is a wonderful addition. I'm sure you do too, since you were a part of it.
Well, thank you. I'm just so glad to give my tree some publicity here.
Well, I'm sure your fellow residents here at Stonebridge will find more meaning than just counting the days with the calendar and looking forward to a new picture. And now they're looking forward to a new piece of poetry. So thank you both.
Thank you, Ingrid.
After hearing from the poets, which was a new feature in the calendar for this year, I'm so pleased that Jim Collins is here because he was one of the pioneers involved in the first one, and then you stuck with it and found some new roles as we went along from year to year. Let's have a little reminiscing because the first year, as I recall, the theme was wildflowers.
That's correct.
And they were all your wildflowers.
Well, that was, it was a spontaneous calendar. This was late in the year, in the fall, and I'd taken a series of photographs in the Stonebridge Meadow at the request of Doreen Malouf of the Garden Club.
Yeah.
She had seen me photographing around Stonebridge and wanted to have flowers of the pictures of the wildflowers in the meadow printed and posted in the club room to entice residents to get out. This was in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
To get out and enjoy nature. And so I'd taken the photographs, and Doreen had written these wonderful narratives of each wildflower.
They're really amazing with the
Yes.
Latin name and then a description about where they grow and,
Yes.
the combination of your beautiful photographs. And her very sort of sensitive, this is how it is with this flower.
Yes, she captured the essence of the flower.
Yeah.
And so we had all the ingredients. We had the flowers, we had the descriptions to go in by month, and but we never thought of a calendar until I think Sylvia Wagner talked to me about, well, why don't you make it into a calendar? And it was getting pretty late.
Yeah.
But we had all the ingredients, and we met. Doreen and I met with Jeff Tiener and Brooke Swope, the resident director, services director, and we decided to go for it. And we had the support of Julie Harp in sales,
Right.
although sales had no marketing influence on the calendar.
Right, yeah.
And they allowed us to put together what we were aiming to be maybe a fine art type calendar. And Julie Harp had an excellent printer who
Right, yes, I think we have to thank the printer.
very excellent printer with a graphic designer on board, and they really made a fine job of the calendar, and we stuck with them for all three calendars in the same
It
type
sort
of
of has a look, you can
Same,
identify it,
fine art look.
as you will see on the screen, as the people who are watching us are seeing on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really a surprise. Now, just as a little side question, are these the photos of the wildflowers that line the corridor to the health center?
Yes. Well, the history of the wildflowers was that we did post them in the clubhouse, and then after we made the calendar, I had them printed on metal, and Roberto Munez in healthcare agreed to have them displayed along the corridor outside of assisted living and inside the dining room of
Right.
assisted living. About 20 some photographs, and they're still there today, along with Doreen's wonderful narratives. And we still get a lot of comments about
Yeah,
them.
yeah, you
So-
should.
And it speaks to what I like to refer to as the healing power of nature. It's better to get out of nature, but even if you don't get out, even seeing photographs of
Yeah.
nature can be helpful.
And sometimes in the photographs, you see nature in a different way than you would if you were outdoors. And,
Yes.
your body is between you and, up close magic is really wonderful, so.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing that. So then, what's the next act? What do you do next year?
Well, that was, the photographs were a solo effort, and we wanted to get away from that and broaden it out to the Stonebridge community. And we had the idea of highlighting the works by what you might call makers at Stonebridge, very artistic pieces of work, sculpture,
Well, even
Quilting.
delicate embroidery.
delicate embroidery.
Yeah, the quilt picture on the front, the
Yes.
heron or something is amazing. Yeah.
Yes, some amazing work here at Stonebridge, a lot of talent, and so we got a good response from the makers here at Stonebridge, and we had an anonymous committee making anonymous selections, and we put those into a calendar, and it took almost a year to make it come to fruition. Doreen led the effort of the committee. We were lucky to have Adria Katz join us to
Right.
take some of the photographs of the makers' works, and
Getting to know you did a visit to the workshop with Charlie Taggart, if you recall his
Yes.
woodwork.
Yes.
we were glad to do that. It's one of our few on-site
Yes.
visits for getting to know you, and because we're so glad that he had a chance to show his artistry since he's fixed so many things
Yes,
here.
yes.
So that was a lovely example.
And Katie Dish, the resident services director, was a big help, and she did the compositing to a draft version of the calendar that was submitted to the printer. So it was a big effort. Carol Wareheim did some excellent proofreading, and Jock McFarland helped us with the photos.
That's another thing he does well.
Yes, took photos of residents, etc., whatever was needed, and so after almost a year's work, we got that to come out just before the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was a really interesting one in showing different talent that you might not see otherwise.
That's right.
You know, some of it, a lot of it was done in people's homes, and so to come out and see it was really a nice idea. So
Yes, I remember Nancy Fleischer recreated one of her dioramas,
yeah,
so we could take a photograph of it.
yeah. And Ruth Louse's intricate embroidery.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that brings us up to this year, and you used the same process.
We did, yes. The same committee, Doreen leading it with Adria and me and Katie.
And they are all pictured on the back of the calendar, so you can see who contributed
Yes.
and the committee.
And Jock and Carol doing
Yeah.
the editing.
Right. Then once again, you were very creative, and you added something, and people now know about that because we interviewed two of the poets.
Yes.
All right, but you did something special, and I promised people that I would ask you to explain what that was all about, because we hear a lot about AI, and we certainly have not added to our conversations with our kids that, oh, well, at Stonebridge, we have 2 poems that are AI, and I happen to know what that is. So could you explain it?
Well, I'll say we didn't displace any poets here at Stonebridge because we lacked poems for 2 months,
I think it's, what, June and July?
July and August.
Oh, okay, all right.
So after scratching our heads, I decided to try the artificial intelligence, and so I submitted a prompt to ChatGPT.
Now, GPT is like going into Amazon, or what would you?
Well, it's ChatGPT. The chat part refers to the ability to ask questions in a human,
Right.
natural language,
Yeah.
and get a response in a natural
Yeah.
looking
Mhm.
language.
Mhm.
And the GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer.
Oh, I'll never
And
remember that, but
that just means that that's the mechanism that the chatbot, the artificial intelligence, uses to generate its response. It's trained on everything on the internet. The one I used was as of 2021. There's so the prompt, you feed it a prompt, and what I used was, please compose a poem about a tree in haiku format. And we needed haiku because it had to fit in this one, one
Right,
block in
yeah.
the calendar.
As opposed to saying a 4-line.
Right.
You picked a style.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And this was out without showing submitting a photograph.
Right.
So it was doing it blindly.
Wow.
And almost instantaneously, it got 4 poems. And they all fit the haiku format, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, and 3 lines. And
It knew what you meant when you put it in.
I knew what it meant, and So the committee liked two of them, and we put them in the calendar.
Well, they fit the picture because the one for August, for example, has this wonderful majestic tree, and the line starts out with "a sturdy tree, proud and majestic." I mean, it's pretty good, and you didn't even show the.
No.
That's amazing. Let's see what,
And then
in the,
previous, in July.
oh, right, yeah, it's the single log that, is across the, and it starts, a tree lies alone.
Perfect.
That is amazing. Silent sentinel of time. I thought of that when I took the walk over there. There was the tree, the silent tree across the water. So that must have been sort of fun to do that.
And I may have forgot to mention, I asked you to write an original poem.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't check afterwards to see if it was original. I could have asked the chatbot, is this an original poem?
Well, if somebody
But-
checks on you, you can say,
Yeah.
well, I didn't think I had to ask that, right?
That's right. You trust it, right?
So this one is really up to date in sort of modern times. If somebody ever goes back through the archives here at Stonebridge, they'll probably see this and think, hey, that was pretty early in, sort of general public use of chat and AI. But I noticed that right away that you had confessed that you used it so that anybody would know that you're
Yes.
being honest up front.
Yes.
That, and you could put your name down as facilitator.
Yes. Yes.
But, so that must have been fun to do that.
It was fun, and it was free.
Well, thank you for all 3 years and for being so innovative as well. And already people are asking about what comes up in 2025.
We're working on
it. Okay, all right. That's what was the question of the poets. And I said, I have no idea what's going on, but somebody told me that when the Maloofs go to Florida, it's been decided. So I think they're on their way, and I'm sure you'll be involved again, and the wonderful committee that manages to make all of this come together.
A lot of talent here at Stonebridge.
So thank you to you and to all the others, and all the joy I think that's been given to the residents to see their own residents being so interesting and contributing to making a really lovely product that we can be proud of, and give for gifts and so on. So thank you very much, Jim.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to next year. And there you have it, folks, the calendar. It's just wonderful. And remember, it's for the whole year. So if you haven't gotten one, see Adrian or Katie and get one. And every month when you turn the page, you will just love it, both the photo and the poem. So thank you for joining us today.